Do I have the right therapist for my child? You've made the call and set up the appointment. But how do you really know if the therapist is a good fit for your child? Let me tell you about the qualities I look for during the first few sessions with a therapist to make sure they're a good fit. Hi and hello. Welcome to Nurturing Youth Counseling. I'm Colette, a licensed professional counselor partnering with you in your child's social and emotional development. I answer questions about children's mental health and provide skills that I've learned while in private practice and with my own children. Come journey along with me on this roller coaster ride of life that we call parenting. So if you've made the call and had your questions answered, then you probably already know a little bit about what to expect from therapy. But you're asking yourself if you've made that right choice in selecting that particular therapist for your child. What you're questioning is known as the therapeutic alliance, the relationship between your child, you, and the therapist. Research tells us that the most important factor of effective therapy is the therapeutic alliance. Even more than the type of modalities, techniques, treatments, all these other things are important too. But the fact that the most important factor in therapy, whether you and your child have a trusting, safe sense of connection with the therapist, is huge. Let's break down the qualities to look for in the first few sessions with your therapist to see if they provide this therapeutic relationship for you and your child. Quality 1, genuine positive regard and empathy. This means the therapist accepts you and your child for who you are, what you are, as you are, and understands, as well as shares in you and your child's feelings. This doesn't mean that the therapist will agree with everything you say or do, but they accept it as what you and your child are experiencing. Quality 2, openness to feedback. At times, the therapist will get it wrong. They are human after all. So don't be afraid to correct them. Look for how the therapist handles it. Do they become defensive, making the space less safe for you and your child? Or do they reflect on what you're saying and ask questions for a better understanding? Quality 3, healthy professional boundaries. It's very important for your therapist to keep professional boundaries. That way they maintain a safe space for you and your child to work in. This means setting limits ahead of time and sticking to them within reason. Examples of this are keeping appointment times and payment expectations, managing time while in session, not meeting outside of scheduled times. You cannot be friends with your therapist or date them. Quality 4, flexibility and adaptability. There's no one-size-fits-all treatment. Sometimes techniques that work for one individual won't work for another. While it's important to be open to trying new things, if something isn't working for you, the therapist should be able to provide other options and adjust their approach to meet you and your child's needs. Quality 5, confidentiality. Part of the foundation for building a trusted therapeutic relationship is confidentiality. Of course, there are certain exceptions and laws that allow for the breaking of confidentiality, and those should be covered in the first session. Don't be afraid to ask questions about the limits of confidentiality, especially when it involves your child. If you find yourself getting overwhelmed by the qualities that I just went over, think about asking yourself these 3 questions. Do you like your therapist? It's much easier to build a relationship with someone you genuinely like. Do you feel understood and heard? Therapy requires diving into uncomfortable, difficult, and even vulnerable parts of our lives. In a good therapeutic relationship, you and your child will feel comfortable doing this. Do you feel challenged? Yes, I said it. Challenged. Occasional discomfort in therapy is a sign of growth. There should be a balance between challenge and comfort. If you're not getting challenged, that's not a good sign. If you've answered yes to all 3 of these questions, then you can be assured that your therapist is a good fit for you and your child. If you answered no to any of these questions, Discuss your concerns with the therapist. If talking about it doesn't help, then it may be time to look for a new therapist. Therapy involves having a relationship with another individual, and each therapist has their own unique individual personality that may or may not mesh with you and your child. So don't give up. There is a therapist out there that can provide you with a trusting, safe sense of connection. If you haven't already, please be sure to like, share, subscribe, and drop a comment below if you found this helpful. This video is not intended for legal advice, nor should it take the place of mental health therapy. Also, I'm not a medical professional, so please seek the services of those professionals if needed. As always, thank you for watching, and until next time, remember to breathe and enjoy this roller coaster ride of life that we call parenting.